It's time to have a waffling Merry Christmas. Yes, we are back in a year which has seen Brexit divide Britain, Trump declared the future president of the United States of Russia, and One Direction split up. It's good to have some light relief in the air as the Waffle returns for a Christmas special. To compensate for the lack of shows this year, we've gone all out to book the biggest names in the show's history. Literally, they have the longest names in the show's history. Our first booking ensures that we most certainly have the royal part of Christmas sorted. The biggest question for him today will be whether he performs like his beloved Titans. Will he suck, or will he blow the opposition away? Please welcome Christopher J Stanley.
I feel like we should filter some of these puns before I get any more shameless plugs in.
Is plugs one as well? Are we going with plugs?
Play my Sporkle quizzes. No, it's fine. I may have a problem with Sporkle, but I feel like, being on a quiz website is good preparation for the waffle. So
it's very good prep.
It's made a good substitute for the waffle whilst we've been away.
It has indeed. So next up, our only guest old enough to remember when a white Christmas was a tradition and not just a song. In fact, she's the second oldest contestant to ever appear on the show. Such are the boundaries we are breaking in today's diverse world. Welcome to the show, Rachel Feeny-Williams.
That's a lovely, charming introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, it was that. The alternative is you are actually the only writer, because this is 4 writers on today's show. You're the only one who's ever been paid for their writing, I believe.
Yes.
Why did you go with that? Instead of describing someone as being the second oldest person.
To be fair, it's actually easier to describe someone as being old.
I guess.
She's female and she's old. Not even Strictly has that on their judging panel.
Stop saying it.
So does that make me the Arlene Phillips of the waffle?
Does that make Chris Len Goodman? Alex, you're Bruno. You are Bruno all the way.
Yes. Yeah, I can concur with that.
And, well, I've just mentioned him. Finally, it is with immense pleasure I welcome back a familiar face to the show. It's been a dark year for him, with there not being a single episode of Doctor Who or Sherlock on telly. Writer and now a budding comic book artist, please say hello to Alex Walton Kay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Alex. So, are you still Walton? Because that's disappeared off Facebook. What's happened to Walton?
I just took them. I took it out just to keep it simpler. But yeah, I'm still Alexander Walton Kay. Don't worry.
AWK.
At this point, to me, you are the most sinister laugh I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, thank you.
It's the Halloween special.
Alex is the man you call up when your kids just won't go to bed and you're saying, well, Santa's going to come.
Go to sleep, Tommy.
Alex would be the person I would ring if I wanted to keep the kid awake. Not asleep.
If he laughs like that, he sounds closer to Ahmed the Dead Terrorist than he does to Father Christmas, I have to say.
Okay, well, that's all our guests introduced, so where else to start but with question 1? And with the festive tunes that we all dust off for 3 weeks a year, which the shops decide to start playing in October, where better to start than with our favourite Christmas songs? Alex, you can go first.
Now, there are 2 answers to this question. One is the answer my friends and family who are listening to this will probably want me to give, and the second answer is actually the truth, and it may surprise some of them. Yeah, Slade's It's Christmas is one I've got a huge soft spot for, because according to my dad, when I was about 6, we were at this Christmas fair, and as the second it came on over the speakers, I went mad. I was like, yeah, it's Christmas! But I properly active. Truthful answer is All I Want for Christmas Is You, because of Love Actually. It's the only romantic comedy that I can possibly abide by. It's the only one I'll allow to slip through the net and that I'll watch, and it's on ad nauseum on ITV, who clearly pour all their resources to showing it every year without fail. So, and I've just over the years watching Love Actually, I've developed a soft spot for it. So All I Want for Christmas Is You is my favourite one. It's just got such a lovely upbeat, feeling to it. And I'm not a romantic man by any means, hence my singleton status. But It does. It does definitely put. It just makes me feel really good, really nice. so exactly what a Christmas song should do.
Okay, great stuff there. Okay, we'll move from the upbeat. Chris, are you still going upbeat, or have you got a slightly more somber song for Christmas?
I would like to point out that I worked out this morning that you can sing the words of All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey to Supermassive Black Hole by Muse. It does work. I'm not quite sure why that came into my head. No, my favourite one is Fairy Tale of New York.
Chris.
By the Pogues. What? Is that your answer as well?
Yeah. You asked.
I've got a backup. I do have a backup. No, but that one is my favourite because I don't think I know any other Christmas song that involves Irish people swearing. Or more to the point, involves Irish people swearing and is still perfectly mainstream. Like, people are more than happy to air it in shops and have kids listening to it. So I like that. I like the fact they go from sort of like complimenting each other to calling each other goodness knows what. But I also like Don't Stop the Cavalry, because that's also quite upbeat as well. And that's got some memorable bits that sort of get stuck in my head. So I like that one. Because I don't think the people who made that one did anything else memorable.
Jonah Louie? Yeah.
Don't think he did anything else. Sounds like he might have played rugby for New Zealand, but he didn't. So that's a good one. Yeah, so I'll pick Stop the Cavalry and let Rachel have the other one.
Okay, Rachel, what's your answer possibly going to be?
Gosh, I wonder.
To be fair, I did have a backup as well, but my reasons for liking Fairy Tale of New York are actually slightly more detailed than Chris's, mainly because it was released in 1987, which is the year I was born, so it's kind of this came to light when I was coming into the world. Also, it's funny what Chris said about it being aired in shops, because in 2007, Radio 1 actually banned the two swear words. I use swear words with air quotations, because apparently they were causing, Radio 1 banned it in 2007, because it was causing offence. And a fact about it that I didn't discover until recently was that it started as a bet between the producer Elvis Costello and Shane McGowan, who's the co-writer, and Jem Finer, who's the banjoist, that they couldn't come up with a Christmas record that wasn't slushy. That was literally how Fairy Tale of New York came into being. It was write a Christmas song that isn't slushy, and that's how it came to life, kind of thing.
I should also think that one to nominate, which is not technically a Christmas song, but is very much related to Christmas now, is Rage Against the Machine with Killing in the Name Of, because it was the first song, I think, in about 4 or 5 years to knock X Factor off number 1. It's just such a random song to have as a Christmas number 1, but it is one.
It was also the most flawed campaign ever. What we're going to do is we're going to get this song to number 1, and then Christmas Day comes in. Oh, wait, the song can't be played because it's got so much swearing in, so we'll just have to play the X Factor one instead.
Yeah.
Also, not to be an entire copycat of Chris, my backup was Winter Wonderland, but the Michael Bublé version. I don't know why, but I've listened to a lot of his Christmas songs over the last couple of weeks, and it's just a nice feeling, and it's just nice to have a nice feeling. I mean, don't get me wrong, Alex's feeling of being hyperactive and excited is lovely as well, but it's just nice to feel nice when you're listening to Christmas songs as well.
What does Michael Bublé do 10 months of the year?
Hibernate.
Yeah, hibernates, clearly.
just like sort of like November the 30th, I must arise. My people need me.
That's what he does.
Okay, right, let's move on to question 2. And quite simple this. Who would you like to meet underneath the mistletoe this Christmas? Chris.
Right, I've chatted with Rachel and we've compromised. It has to be Rachel, but dressed as Captain Jack Harkness.
Wait, who's dressed as Jack Harkness?
Rachel.
I'm assuming he means his Rachel, not me.
Yeah, you've not thought this through,
no,
Chris.
I do mean my Rachel, yes.
Yeah, I figured that much out myself.
Legally binding wife Rachel.
Who goes, a woman dressed as Captain Jack Harkness, I can't say no.
Okay, that's very confusing. Alex?
I would love to meet the voice actress Tara Strong underneath the mistletoe, and if you Google her, I think you'll see why. Yes.
Yes, with the sinister laugh.
Well, it's Harley Quinn, so she's equally sinister.
Yeah.
There you go, where perfect
okay.
match. Where really all Tara Strong is just a toned down version of Harley Quinn in real life.
Perfect. The sinister laugh makes sense.
There you are. Bingo.
Okay, and Rachel.
For me, only because I've had a thing for him since I was about 12, 13 years old. It's got to be Johnny Depp. I know a lot of people now think he's old and weird and past it, but for me, he was my most of my year teenage crush. He was my crush all the way through uni. I've seen some films that no one should ever see just because he was in them. So yeah, he would be my choice for Underneath the Mistletoe without a shadow of a doubt.
Who was that again? Sorry, which one?
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Okay.
Yeah.
Would he be dressed up as Captain Jack Sparrow?
Yeah, I think it would have to be Captain Jack only because that's his most iconic role for me. But to be fair, just to have him there, ideally in kind of a half-open shirt would be quite nice as well.
We're discounting Edward Scissorhands then.
Yeah, no, that'd be a bit awkward, to say the least.
And I think Willy Wonka would be a bit creepy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think his version of Wonka is just creepy. I think his version of Wonka is just creepy in general.
But he did a TV series and a film in the 80s where he had like amazing 80s, like, I don't use the word quiff, but you know what I mean, that type of hair, and he wore leather and tight jeans, and that Johnny Depp would do as well. I did the 80s for the Jack Sparrow version.
Okay, so let's move on to question 3 and the realm of trivia. Let's have a tale behind our Christmas traditions. Rachel.
Well, I'm going to take some tradition that's a bit romantic and give it a bit of a almost cool vibe to it. The tradition of kissing under the mistletoe, according to one account, comes from Norse myths, so I'm assuming you're all familiar with Thor. Frigga, one of the gods, gave birth to her son Balder, and she charmed him with mistletoe to protect him from the elements, but because mistletoe came from neither fire nor earth nor water nor air, it grew on trees, it powered him to harm. One of the other gods' arrows struck him made of mistletoe, and his mother cried tears of white berries. She then brought her son back to life for the kiss and vowed anyone who rested beneath the plants would then kiss as well, and that's where the kissing tradition started. And it's also with a limit to how many times you can kiss under mistletoe, because every time you kiss someone, you're supposed to take one of the berries off, and once the berries are gone, you can kiss no more. Yeah, a romantic sentiment with a Norse beginning.
That's a Norse answer.
Oh dear.
Chris.
You realise you're prompting the list answer from me with this one.
Let's cross over to the historian graduates now.
First of all, I like this. I've read this. Norwegian scientists have hypothesized that Rudolph's red nose is probably the result of a parasitic infection of his respiratory system.
Oh, no, Rudolph.
I wonder if they got paid for that research. Secondly, all the gifts in the 12 days of Christmas, if you assume that every day there's one partridge and you're just adding and each day, there's always a partridge every day, there's 2 turtle doves all 11 days, that would come up to 364 gifts. So you have a gift for pretty much every day of the year, which I quite like.
Ironically, that's actually been a question on 3 Christmas quizzes I've done in the past 3 weeks.
Ah. I also quite like that apparently there are approximately 20,000 rent-a-Santas across the United States, and they usually undergo seasonal training on how to maintain a jolly attitude under pressure from the public, and they also receive practical advice such as not accepting money from parents while children are looking, and avoiding garlic, onions or beans for lunch. But my favourite fact is the fact that the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree is donated by the city of Oslo in Norway every year since 1947 because of how we helped them out in the Second World War. But also that the 2016, this is classic 2016, the tree from Oslo this year was voted London's least Christmassy tree.
Oh.
We're so grateful for getting a free tree. It was a terrible tree.
Come on, Oslo, do better.
Yeah.
Where's Maya when you need her?
It wasn't Christmas in the United States, just last one, until 1870. So some people had over 200 years without Christmas, assuming they lived 200 years, which they probably didn't.
Okay.
That's a bit bloody depressing.
Oh no.
They have Thanksgiving like just before Christmas, don't they?
Yeah, but they also have Black Friday, and look what that's done.
That is true. Okay, Alex, have you got anything left after Chris's list?
Oh, well, it turns out we were using the same website, and thankfully he actually missed the one out that I selected. The Germans made the first artificial Christmas trees out of dyed goose feathers.
I saw that. Does that mean that if you threw it, it could fly a bit?
I guess. Levitating tree.
If you threw it in hunting season, it would get shot at.
Well, see, the thing is, now we know what Frau Merkel has in her house then. And what it's come and where it came from.
Do you like my goose-fat tree? Right, so that brings us to the end of the first round. Oh, first round of Waffle for a while's over. And the scores are like this. Tied on 11, it's Chris and Rachel.
Hey!
Oh,
Pipping into the lead with that fantastic German answer at the end, it's Alex, 12.
Oh, that's nice. That's rather good.
Okay, so question 4 now, and this is what I miss about having a studio. This question concerns Christmas food, and last time we did this, we had a load of Christmas food round us.
Oh.
So, simply put, what is the best Christmas food? Chris?
mince pies. For me, it's kind of a transformational answer, because if you'd asked me when I was about, say, 6 or 7, do you like mince pies? I would have gone, absolutely not, get them away from me. I hated them. And there was just this sort of weird transitional period where they were kind of okay, and now I love them. And if you give me a pack of 6 mince pies, do not expect me to share, for they will be gone.
I can assure you, Chris, you won't need to share them with me.
Also, stuffing, for some reason. Most things, if I don't get too much turkey, that's fine, but I always have a certain amount of stuffing. And yes, you can giggle at it.
There's one for a t-shirt for Rachel. My husband, he likes a certain amount of stuffing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Rachel. Christmas food, I guess it's not mince pies.
No, definitely not mince pies. If you're talking conventional of what actually goes in a Christmas dinner, regardless, I would say pigs in blankets, essentially because it's pork wrapped in more pork, and it's effectively, as the comedian Russell Howard said, someone looked at a sausage and went, it's good, but it needs a waistcoat made of bacon, which I entirely agree with, and think it was just a brilliant idea, and I think whoever decided that is a genius. On a more personal note, because not everyone will have heard of this, my mum makes a beautiful bread sauce every year at Christmas, and I absolutely love it. And the only times I've not had it is when I've had Christmas up north in Liverpool, and I have to say it was the one major thing that I missed. So either pigs in blankets or bread sauce.
I like the idea that someone was eating bread and was like, this is good, but it needs to be a sauce.
It does.
Sauce it.
Does that mean if you burn bread sauce, it becomes toast sauce?
No, because it's got a milk base. If you burn it, the milk just curdles and it just tastes like...
Ooh, that's not good.
No, it's not a pleasant experience.
Right, okay. Alex, Chris has actually left you some bits of food here.
Well, not the stuffing though, it would seem. Now, my original answer was going to be pigs in blankets, but I'm glad that was taken because now I can give this answer. And it's funny, I've only ever had this Christmas food once, but I'm going to rectify it this year and I'm going to have it again. And it was introduced to me, funnily enough, 5 years ago. It was strange. A rather dashing individual who had a penchant for really nice waistcoats that puts Han Solo to shame got me into this particular snack. Do you know who that is, Mac? This dashing individual with good hair. It was you and your...
You want to lay it on any thicker, Alex?
It was you and your bloody Leberkuchen, Forsyth. I love that stuff. I've not had it since, sadly, but I'm going to... Because it's the 5-year anniversary, I'm probably going to get some in this Christmas. But no, I love it. I absolutely adored that stuff. So no, well done. So it's you who got me into it. So well done there, you mass stranger, you. I was an innocent little boy, Mac. 5 years ago. Then you broke me into that crap. I don't believe it.
Want Leberkuchen?
Or all the other kids getting hooked on drugs, Mac was getting you hooked on Leberkuchen.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a gateway drug.
I was a young boy being ravaged, an innocent ravaged by that stuff. So
we bribed the girl on the reception desk with Leberkuchen to give us the room.
There you are. It clearly is an addictive substance. It's a class A drug.
She now has to go to Germany each year because she can't get her fix any other way.
They are. So, I mean, the ones you brought in, Mac, they were from Asda, weren't they?
Yeah. Other supermarkets are available.
No, there you are. So, no, that's my all-time favourite, and it's your fault, Mac. It's all your fault that's my favourite. You're to blame.
Okay, well, just a couple of points there for Alec. Okay, question number 5. And who will be glad to see the back of 2016? And who are you tipping to have a fantastic 2017? Rachel?
I believe I take this one was really tricky for me. Not really one for following a great deal. In all honesty, I don't really follow politics, but I think that Hillary Clinton will be very glad to see the back of 2016 because as I said, I don't know a great deal of politics, but knowing what I know and what I've seen about that man, to lose to him must be the single most mortifying experience she's probably ever had. I mean, to lose a political battle to Donald Trump, it must be the equivalent of losing your Christmas number 1 to Honey G, in my opinion. So, yeah, Hillary's definitely going to be glad to the back of 2016. In regards to having a fantastic 2017, I'm going to put my support behind my family on this, and Matt's probably going to roll his eyes at this point, but I'm hoping Liverpool Football Club have an amazing 2017 because they're doing quite well thus far, so I've heard.
Do you have anything to say to that, Chris?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
my
mum, my sister, my brother are all avid supporters, so I figured
as long as they beat Arsenal by something like 8 or 9-0, that's part of it, then that's fine. They have to beat Arsenal.
Well, they've had my backing at this point, so hopefully that will work in their favour.
And somehow lose in a travesty to Spurs, despite having 76 3 penalties, all of which are somehow missed.
So basically they just play like they did against Burnley that week.
Yes, that's the sort of thing. Or Bournemouth. I will take either way.
Right, okay. Chris, good year, bad year? What are you going for?
Bad year, I'm going to go for France, the French football team, for getting all the way to the final of Euro 2016, and you're hosting, and then to lose to possibly the worst European champions I've ever seen, or will ever see again. Portugal were abysmal.
They didn't even have their best player.
They didn't win a single game in their group, but still managed to get out of the group. They had to have extra time to get past Croatia. I'm pretty sure they also had to have extra time to get past Poland. So the only team they managed to beat in normal time, I'm pretty sure, was Wales, which most people before the tournament would have said was much of an achievement. So, yes. And I felt that kind of ruined the tournament for me. I would have much rather it been, if you're going to have someone that unfancied win it, I would have much rather someone like Wales or Iceland with the great chance to have done that. In terms of who's going to have a really good 2017, I'm going to say either DC and or Marvel, because the number of DC and Marvel films coming out next year is quite something. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy, Justice League, Spider-Man Homecoming, the Lego Batman movie, which I guess is kind of DC, Wonder Woman, Logan, Thor Ragnarok. It just keeps on going. I'm also expecting 2017 a fair bit of nostalgia, because I noticed there's a Power Rangers movie coming out as well.
That's going to be amazing.
As well as a Baywatch movie, which looks surprisingly good.
I saw the thing for that. It's Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Zac Efron, isn't it?
It looks quite different to how I remember Baywatch.
Yeah.
I like it, but...
yes. I discovered on Facebook earlier on this evening that Pitch Perfect 3 comes out in December of next year, so I'm more than happy.
Okay, let's move to Alex. Alex, who's had a bad 2016 and who's going to have a cracking 2017?
David Cameron has had a rubbish 2016, I think. It's fair to say. Yeah, he lost his job. He got, he divided the country technically because this referendum was his fault. He did give us it. I don't think it ended well for him. Whatever the result will be in the future, whatever, will happen because of the Brexit in the future, for David Cameron, it's certainly not done him any good whatsoever. It's left under such a cloud. So and it's a shame because I actually didn't mind old Dave. Actually, I do a bit of affection for him, a bit of a soft spot. He's like an incompetent dad. He's just so bumbling and British. God bless him. So yeah, I don't think old Dave had the best year to go round.
I'm looking forward to the film Dave Cameron's Diary. January 1st, 2016. Prime Minister of Great Britain. Looking forward to another year. Then the end of the year.
Mac, that's called the thick of it. It's just it's basically the thick of it. That's all it is.
I can come up with a politician who's had a worse year than Cameron in Britain, and that's Zach Goldsmith.
Yes.
Who not only ran for mayor against Sadiq Khan and lost, but also decided to have a hissy fit about the third runway at Heathrow, resigned his seat, stood for that, and lost that as well. So he's also unemployed, and he's lost 2 big elections in the same year. That's pretty bad.
He got slapped down by the May, and now he right underneath her high-heeled toe, high-heeled shoe. He's in his place. Terrific stuff. I'm going to tip Stephen Moffat to have a very good year because his final year working on Doctor Who, his final series will air, next year. And I really hope the critics give it praise. I hope the fans, stay away from their heads and be nice and respectful because, honestly, that man has worked so hard since before he became juicy on TV. So to do some cracking television, and I really hope that that he leaves on a really positive, upbeat note, and people treat him respectfully. And I wish him all the best for the future because he's honestly worked so hard. He pulled off something like the Big 50th. It was just insane. It didn't. And yet he did it. He did it. So good man. So I'm tipping him to have a good year. I really hope he does. He's more than earned it. He's earned his stripes.
Okay, and for those of you playing the Waffle Bingo game at home, you can tick off Alex Doctor Who mention. Right, let's go to question 6. Given 2016 has been a pretty rubbish year, let's have some heartwarming Christmas stories that bring a tear to the eye in the happy sense. Chris?
There's a whole bunch of these I found. I basically Googled heartwarming Christmas stories, and BuzzFeed has about 17 of them. I could name any of them, but I particularly like one that's called The Forgotten Present. And so it was a couple of days after Christmas, apparently, according to this person. She was about 8 years old, and her mum has just found a present that she bought in the closet. So she's late, it's after Christmas. But instead of just giving it to the kid, she decides to go out and throw it on the roof, and then call the kid out and show her the gift, and get the ladder and make it feel like Santa actually visited, and he was up on the roof and this must have fallen out of the sleigh. There you go. So I kind of like that. In a way, it's lying to children, but it's a very heartwarming way of lying to children. Why do we lie to children at Christmas? Maybe we should stop doing that. Maybe that's what's wrong with the world. What do you do at Christmas? Well, I tell my children that a strange man goes around our house, even though there's no such thing.
It's lying with good intentions, Chris.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, okay. Guess that's the best thing you can say about it.
Okay, after that bit of heartwarming, Alex.
Well, I was going to try and find one from my own life, and really the closest one I can come up with is that this was about 2-3 Christmases ago, where this is I think this one will work. It does count. 2-3 Christmases ago, we had some renovations being done on my dad's house, and so we had to basically, because living in Surrey, we've got a pretty big house. That's not bragging, it's a fact, because all people in Surrey have way too much money, so therefore we
Just let me find the violin music here, Alex. Let me find the violin music.
We're really suffering at times of austerity, Michael. Not in Surrey, not in Cobham.
The butler had to be let go, didn't he? The butler was gone.
So what happened was, because my room was being done up, I had to move from one side of the house to the other side of the house. So one side that migrated over. It was around Christmas time where we did the transition. So I changed over to the other room on the other side of the house. And when I got in there, moving my stuff in, opened the door, and there was a picture of my grandma and granddad who had long since departed. But I hadn't physically seen a picture of them for at least 7-10 years. and it got me on I think it was Boxing Day when I was moving my stuff over, that I saw them, there, like they were in the room waiting for me. It was lovely, and I've Dad had apparently been going through some stuff in the attic and had found it and decided to frame the picture and leave it there for me. And now that wonderful framed picture of my grandparents is by my bed all the time now in my very expensive Surrey house.
That's quite a sweet one, I thought.
Modest and sweet, definitely modest.
Okay, Rachel.
Mine's actually a story that was told on an old episode of Mock the Week by comedian Adam Hills, who's an Australian comedian, very funny. His father worked as cabin crew for Qantas Airlines when they were still in business. And one night they were flying on Christmas night, and the pilot called him up and said, in 5 minutes I want you to bring the lights up. And he did that, and the captain came over the radio and said, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to wake you in the middle of the night, but we've had a special request come over the radar. There's someone else flying around the world tonight who wants to say hello. I'm just going to allow him to land. And then he kind of jiggled the steering column of the plane, so it jiggled, and he went, he's just landed. And then after a few minutes, the lights kind of dimmed a little bit, and Father Christmas came out onto the plane, gave presents to all the kids, and said hello, and did all of this. And then when he went back out, the pilot said, "Oh, we're just going to help them speed up a little bit to help them take off again now." And he sped the plane up, and it was just, when he said it, it was just, you got this vision of these kids all being sat in this plane in the middle of the night on Christmas Day, which is not the most ideal time for travelling anyway. And then to think that Santa's actually on the plane with you, it's just kind of nice. And it's similar to Chris. It was just a nice, fuzzy feeling kind of story for me.
Suck on that, EasyJet.
Yeah, you got
I'm not crying.
Santa on our plane.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
So what was that airline called again?
Qantas?
My God, this is like a Doctor Who planet. Qantas, the Doctor is travelling to Qantas.
Just travelling to Qantas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I just thought it was really nice.
Well, that blows away my big mansion's being renovated. And it brings us to the end of the second round. And the scores, it's incredibly tight. On 22, it's Chris. On 23, it's Alex. Also on 23, it's Rachel.
Yay!
Still in the game.
If I've learned anything from listening to previous episodes of this, it's always still in the game until literally the last second of it.
And then you fail and cry.
Oh, he's starting up the smack talk, people. Tick that off on the bingo.
I just meant everyone.
You're pushing on a newcomer, Chris. What did you?
I meant everyone. Everyone fails at the waffle at some point. More than I have.
Carla more than often.
Well, that's just because she happens to be on the same show as Jenny, and it never ends well.
No. Right, let's move on to question number 7. Quite simply, who would be your dream guest to share your Christmas Day experience with? Alex.
And we can only have one. It can't be guests.
It can only be one singular guest.
All right. This individual is sadly deceased, but say I would get a TARDIS and were to bring him forward again, or spend Christmas with him back when he was alive, I would spend Christmas with John Pertwee, the Doctor. Because that man, my God, he could tell an anecdote. He's not only my favourite Doctor and one of my favourite actors, but you've not lived till you've seen a John Pertwee interview or a John Pertwee convention panel from back in the day, because he is just a master storyteller, just the master craftsman. Great with punchlines, great with voices, and to spend Christmas dinner in the presence of that man's company, I think would just be absolutely astonishing. I would laugh and laugh and laugh. So John Pertwee is my choice. Good old JP.
Okay, good stuff there. Rachel, are you going down the Doctor Who route?
I'm not. Mine's going to sound a bit odd. I would like to spend Christmas Day with Santa. I would like to arrange for someone to kind of do his job on Christmas Eve, someone who I knew could do it properly, and then let him have a lie-in and enjoy Christmas Day without having to, not... Because, I mean, if he's going to be out until, all the way through the night, he's not going to be up for Christmas Day until, the late afternoon, and by then Christmas is practically over, so I'd quite like to have him kind of have a lie-in, enjoy himself, have someone else cook for him, and have him open his presents on Christmas Day.
You can't put Santa's service out to Yodel.
No, we'd find someone. I'd be able to find someone. There's probably a couple of Amazon people looking for work over Christmas.
Zach Goldsmith's looking for work.
And, and
David Cameron.
He's probably got some amazing heartfelt Christmas stories as well.
Probably Cameron, he'd start it up, wouldn't he? He'd do it, and he'd get halfway through and he'd go, well, I did want to do this, but these presents are in a different wrapping to the other presents. I'm not sure people want me to deliver these anymore. I'm off.
Let's not
I think we need to vote whether to keep the presents. We need to vote whether to keep the presents in the sleigh or whether we should take them all out. And it will take 4 years before we get anywhere.
I think knowing the organisation and the effort he's put into producing the waffle for this song, I think if Santa's having Christmas Day with me, I think Matt should do Santa's job. Because he's organised and he could go and do that, and Santa could have a day off.
Only if I get Chris with me for the puns.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. As long as Santa can have his lie-in and have his Christmas lunch like everybody else, and actually get to open his own presents, then I'm more than happy.
It sounds more like you're booty calling Santa right now.
No, you can bring business skills with it, but you said only one guest, so I figured I would
take a married man.
Yeah.
Okay, right, Chris.
I'm going to go back to Doctor Who and go for David Tennant because if it's anything like how it was in Doctor Who, we will have so many adventures on Christmas that we won't know where to start. You know, my ideal Christmas would be blowing up a murderous Christmas tree, killing an alien with an orangutan, and bringing down a Prime Minister with 6 words. I think that'd be perfect. I can't think of a better way to spend Christmas.
You leave Theresa May out of this, Chris. You leave my girlfriend alone.
Don't you think she looks tired, Alex?
She looks bloody tired.
No.
Are you talking David Tennant or are you talking Doctor Who? If you're talking David Tennant, don't forget he has a Scottish accent, so that totally changes the order.
Yeah, I prefer David Tennant with the Scottish accent, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
Are we in Scotland?
He's Scrooge McDuck in the new DuckTales. It's going to be...
No, let's not talk about that. No, please don't talk about that.
I also found through a Top Gear interview that he did. I didn't know that David Tennant was Scottish until I saw this interview. I also discovered he's one of the few men in Scotland who auditioned for and didn't get into Taggart. Apparently he auditioned for it like 6 times and was never in Taggart. Which I found quite amusing.
So on to the final question now. Christmas sees the annual Secret Santa competition rolled out in offices and homes across the country. So, this year, what is the best Secret Santa gift you can get for £5 English? Or about 20 cents in euros? Rachel?
I actually bought this gift for a colleague of mine that I worked with 2 or 3 years ago now, and I discovered that you can still buy it on Amazon for the same price of £5, including postage and packing. And it was a stress ball in the shape of a breast, which when you open it in the middle of a meeting full of everyone else that you work with, strikes up quite a riot. So I found it quite amusing.
Good stuff. Chris?
Chocolate chip Italian panettone from John Lewis.
Oh, God.
I can't escape my former blood. But I had not really come across panettone before until about a couple of years ago when my Uncle Dennis made some, and it is so good. It's amazing. And it's much better than Christmas pudding, in my opinion. But the good thing about this as well is that it's a nice, large, tub of panettone, which normally costs about £10, but they reduce it, so it's only £4. So you have £1 left to do whatever you want.
Oh, that's genius.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're all stunned, I can see.
The part I love most about that story, Chris, is that you've got an uncle called Dennis. You know, thank you. That's made my evening now. Uncle Dennis.
Even better, he's married to Glennis.
No!
God.
Marvellous. Oh, that's made my evening.
So literally, when you ship them, they are Glennis anyway.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's made a 25-year-old bloke currently sitting in North London more happier than it probably should have done.
We'll wait till you get your Leberkuchen later.
There you go, and I'll be in ecstasy.
Right, Alex, best Secret Santa for £5.
Now, I don't think this would work now, but if we were to be back in the 20th century, it probably would. And also, if there's one good thing that comes of Brexit, I hope it's this. I would say I'd buy all the penny sweets that I could with that £5, so therefore you'd have 500 of them each if they actually cost a penny. I mean, I'm told these days they cost 2 to 5p, which is an outrage. So hopefully, if we're going to go back into the past, let's make it we have penny sweets that actually cost pennies. So I'd buy that with the £5, because then you've got 500 sweeties to share out amongst your friends and family. Or if you're like Chris with his stuffing, you keep them all for yourself.
Fritos cost 25 pence now.
That's a shame. It's an outrage.
Never mind that, it's in a state of Toblerones.
Yes, there's less chocolate in them.
It's like, I mean, they can even bother, could they, to change the package? And they just went, well, we'll just put less chocolate in it. So it looks the same size, and you open it, and there's nothing there.
Yeah. 2016, ladies and gentlemen.
Summed up in that one fact.
Okay, well, we're on to the very final round now, where our guests will present a Christmas headline, followed by a short summary of the story. The story will either be true or false, and the other guests will have to guess whether the story is fact or fiction, with points awarded accordingly. And Alex has just crawled his way into the lead, so Alex, you get to pick the running order.
I think we should have ladies first. So, Chris, on your way. No, I'm kidding. So, Rachel. Rachel. You can go first, Rachel.
Okay, and then Chris or you?
Then Chris, then me.
Okay. I'll see if you'd done it, Chris, you and Rachel. It would have spelled car on the bit of paper I've got in front of me. Okay.
Oh, Mac, hashtag first world problems. Get over it, son.
Okay, Rachel, so into the firing line. So you need to give your headline and then a summary of the story, please.
Okay, the headline is, "This Christmas card has travelled more than 700,000 miles around the world." And this is the story of a lady in Wales who sent her brother-in-law and his wife a card back in 1949, and she put in the note in the card, "This is our favourite, so you could send it back to us next Christmas." And basically from then on, over the next however many generations, family proceeded to send it backwards and forwards from Australia to Wales every year. Hence it's travelled up to date 718,284 miles, which is an equivalent of 3 journeys to the moon.
Wowzers. Okay, Chris.
Peruvian Santa in Gung Ho 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 drugs bust. This is a story that a member of an anti-drugs unit in the Peruvian capital Lima raid whilst dressed as Santa Claus, using a hammer to bash open the door before leading them away. He said that you'll be sorry.
Okay, and Alex.
Donald Trump's pledge, we're going to be saying Merry Christmas. And it's basically, effectively, the story is Donald Trump wants to, apparently for the last few years, because of Obama, people have been scared to say Merry Christmas, saying Happy Holidays instead. So Trump is vowing that we're going to say Merry Christmas from now on. So all of a sudden, because he deems it's going to happen, you know. Clearly, people have been terrified just to say Merry Christmas the last few years. I mean, it's amazing. It's astonishing. So he is the liberator of Christmas, apparently, or so he says.
Okay, some good stuff there. And it's nice to see the acting coming out in all of you chaps as well there, and ladesses. So very good round. Alex, what do you think to Rachel's Christmas card that travelled around the world? True or false?
I would say true.
Okay, Chris?
I'm going to say true as well.
I mean, you are the historian here, so if anybody's going to know about a really old Christmas card, it should be you, right?
I'll be impressed if it's false, because there are a lot of factual sort of details and things in there, so...
Okay, and the Peruvian Santa drugs bust. Rachel?
With the horrible pun, I would expect it's Chris being false, but on that side, you might be doing that deliberately. I'm going to say it's true.
Okay, Alex, what are you thinking? Are you thinking Peruvian Santa?
Yeah, I'm going to say true because it's 2016, isn't it?
Okay.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in the next 12 months or the last 12 months.
All right, what are we thinking about Donald Trump saying Donald Trump being the saviour of Christmas in America? Rachel?
I won't go as far as saying he's the saviour of Christmas, but in as far as him insisting they're going to say Merry Christmas again, I would say that's true.
All right, Chris?
Yeah, true.
You're going true?
I'm going true.
Okay, so it's trues all around there, so if there's a couple of falses in here, that could be very interesting scores. Okay, Rachel, the Christmas card travelled around the world. True or false?
It's true. It travelled from Village Cashin in Wales to Allen Cashin in Newcastle, Australia, several times between 1949 and the current day.
Do you reckon like the posties were just like, oh, it's these guys again?
Well, apparently they had a quote further down saying the card's very fragile, but we do try to look after them, which I thought was really sweet. Because obviously, if you get to the point where it's starting to tear, you think, oh, should I really send this? They've stuck by it and just kept going instead.
I like the idea that they send like massive parcels, like huge boxes, and it's just the card.
The card in the middle.
Bubble wrap.
Like layers of bubble wrap.
Okay, let's go to the Peruvian Santa. Was there a drugs bust involved in a Peruvian Santa?
Indeed there was. And not only is it true, but there's video of this as well on BBC News. So you can go and watch that after you've been in this. Or listen to this.
This is what you get for sure. He doesn't get a break, you see.
It's quite an interesting set. Like, I've never seen such a big head. Like, he's got a proper... It's not like a mask or anything like that. It's like a giant head.
So we're on to the final one now, and I can say it all hinges on this. Depending on which way it swings will decide who wins the show. Donald Trump, saviour of Christmas, Alex.
It is true. At a rally in Burlington, Iowa, he said you can leave happy holidays in the corner of the store. So he's vowed that from here on in, he's always going to say Merry Christmas, in contrast to Obama's more neutral Happy Holidays. And yeah, that's what he said. He's going to... I think his fight on political correctness has begun, and he's gonna start saying Merry Christmas now, as opposed to being a bit more neutral about stuff. So yeah, it's totally true.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the show and the final scores. On 32 points, a very impressive debut, it's Rachel.
Woo!
On 33 points, pipped at the very end, it's Alex.
Oh!
But this year's winner on 34 points, getting that extra point there at the end for the Trump answer, it's Chris.
Whoa.
Yay!
So Chris is the winner of the Christmas special.
It's all rather
Was I
appropriate,
not
isn't
last?
it? It's very appropriate.
Was I not last going into that last round?
You were, but only you were only like a point behind me.
Well, Peruvian
Where it
Santa,
goes
there's
sometimes.
magic then, Chris. Peruvian
That
Santa.
true or false round.
When Chris was talking earlier about people collapsing, he failed to mention that it's normally him that wins.
Well, you know.
I was going to say, I've listened to a few of them.
I didn't want to sound
I am
complacent.
noticing a pattern, Chris, I have to say.
Yeah.
See, we had to change the scoring system in the final rounds because Chris was able to work out what he needed to win. And true or false accordingly.
Tactical.
He's the he became the Jose Mourinho of the final round. Well, I just need to set my stall up like this and I'll scrape a 1-0 victory.
Where's your Christmas spirit, Chris? Could have just let me or Alex win.
Humbug.
Where's your charity, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Poor excuse
Help
to
out
pick
the
man's
little boy.
pocket every December the 25th.
Come on, help the little boy from Surrey out. Come on,
Don't
Chris,
point
I'm
the
not
bucket
suffering.
Okay, well that's it for this Christmas special. Thank you to Rachel for coming on.
No problem.
Thank you to Alex, who will go and find some Leberkuchen, I hope, soon.
I absolutely will, and hopefully Tara strong underneath the mistletoe if I'm lucky.
And thank you to this year's winner, Chris, who I imagine is shortly off to find Captain Jack Harkness dressed as his wife underneath the mistletoe.
I think it's the other way around. More his wife dressed as Captain Jack Harkness. I think the other way might be a bit odd.
Hey, Chris didn't say anything.
Well, thank you for having
I'll
us, man.
leave
Thank
you
you
for
for having us on.
Your imagination's to roam free.
Well, thanks for having us on, Mac. It's been really fun.
No problem, it's been good fun, and we hopefully will be back in the new year with the second half of Series 4, which is a little bit delayed, but it'll be back. Thank you, everybody.
Steve Gibbard must be like, I'm gonna win. Why have we stopped?
Gibbard on like the best, like he's got to be on the longest winning streak of anybody ever, because it's over about 2 years now. So let's see if he gets slain in the new year. That's it. Merry Christmas and have a happy New Year.
And incidentally, a Merry Christmas to all of you at home.
And to all of those at home, to have a good night.
Sod off 2016.
Close the door on your way out, you bastard.
Yeah.